Folks, and good evening. We welcome you to Truist Point in High Point, North Carolina for the second game in a three-game series between the Gastonia Honey Hunters as they take on the High Point Rockers. Good evening, everybody. Brian Rushing here with you as the Gastonia Honey Hunters play in this second game of the series, looking to even the series at one game apiece and send it to a rubber game tomorrow. Last night, Gastonia lost in heartbreaking fashion, losing 2-1 on an eighth-inning home run from Quincy Lattimore. Today, they'll have a debut, as it'll be Mason Mcallister making his first start for the Gastonia Honey Hunters, and he'll go up against Ivan Pinheiro. When we come back, we'll tell you a little bit more about last night's action. We'll have the starting lineups, a look around the league, and then we'll have first pitch action around 6:35 this evening between the Honey Hunters as they take on the High Point Rockers. We'll be back in just a bit on the Honey Hunters Radio Network. So we welcome you back this evening to Truist Point here in High Point, North Carolina. So glad that you could join us on the Honey Hunters Radio Network this evening, as last night it was a heartbreaking 2-1 win for the High Point Rockers as they beat Gastonia for the first time here at home against Gastonia in the season. It was also the first time that Gastonia has lost a Friday baseball game in the season. They were 9-0 going into last night's action before having Quincy Lattimore hit a solo shot in the bottom of the eighth inning, giving High Point the 2-1 lead. Ryan Dull would finish things off as he got his sixth save of the season. Getting the win was Bryce Hensley. Taking the loss was Sam Bordner. Bordner, with the loss, goes to 9-5 on the season. As tonight, Gastonia wants to start a winning streak. Another winning streak, and they would like to get off the schneid as they've lost two straight. This is the first time that this club has lost two consecutive road games since May 25th and May 26th. That is almost 2 months of league action that the Gastonia Honey Hunters have lost back-to-back road games this season. This is a club that wins 73% of their road games in the year. So they're going to try to get back to some winning ways this evening, as it'll be Mason Mcallister to face off against Ivan Pinheiro. Let's go ahead and take a look at the starting lineup that Goose Gazzo rolls out this evening for the Honey Hunters, as Reese Hampton will lead off. Now, Hampton will play right field this evening. Not a spot that he typically plays, but he gets the start in right field tonight for Gastonia. Jack Reinheimer will bat second. He'll be at shortstop. Joseph Rosa will bat third. He'll be at second base. Zach Jarrett will bat cleanup. He'll be in left field. Luis Roman will bat fifth. He'll be the DH. Luis Castro will bat sixth at first base. Jake Skull will bat seventh. He'll be the center fielder this evening. Raider Ascanio will play the hot corner. He'll bat eighth for the Honey Hunters. And then batting ninth will be Stuart Levy in the catcher spot. So recapping the lineup, it'll be Hampton, Reinheimer, Rosa, Jarrett, Roman, Castro, Skull, Ascanio, and Levy. As Mason Mcallister comes in, 1-0 record on the year in the league. He got one start for the Wild Health Genomes before being picked up by the Gastonia Honey Hunters. That start came for Mcallister on July 6th. It was a win against the Lexington Legends in Lexington, naturally, as he got 5 innings in the contest to get the win. He comes in with a 1-0 record and no ERA. We'll see if that is tested tonight against a High Point Rockers club that Jamie Keefe rolls out like this. Michael Russell will get the start leading off. He'll be at third base. Ben Aklenski will bat second. He'll be in center field. Xander Wheel will bat third. In left field, Jerry Downs will bat cleanup over at first base. Quincy Lattimore, the designated hitter and the hero of last night's game, will bat fifth. Tyler Ladendorf will bat sixth. He's the second baseman. Jay Gonzalez will bat seventh. In right field, Dakota Mulcahy will bat eighth. He'll be the catcher this evening. And then batting ninth will be Giovanni Alfonso, the shortstop. So it'll be Russell, Aklenski, Wheel, Downs, Lattimore, Ladendorf, Gonzalez, Mulcahy, and Alfonso for Jamie Keefe's High Point Rockers. As getting the start tonight will be Ivan Pinero. Pinero comes in with a 3-1 record on the year, a 3.71 ERA. His last outing was sensational. It was against Southern Maryland here in High Point. He went 8 innings, gave up 5 hits, 1 run. It was earned. He walked nobody. He struck out 7. The last time out against Gastonia, he got his only loss of the season as he went 5 innings, giving up 8 hits, 6 runs. He walked 3, and he struck out 5. So which Ivan Pinero will we see this evening? Well, only time will tell as we're nearing the bottom of the hour here in a matter of minutes. We'll have first pitch action between the Honey Hunters and the High Point Rockers. When we come back, we'll take a look around the league at this evening's schedule, a full slate of action here in the Atlantic League. We'll be back in just a bit on the Honey Hunters Radio Network. GSM Services helps people. Back here at Truist Point, just seconds away from the start of the action this evening. Let's briefly take a look at the Atlantic League schedule for this evening. Lancaster and York, they played late last night. Of course, they'll get started at 6:30 this evening as the Revolution will be the home team against the Barnstormers. Staten Island will take on Lexington. Kentucky Wild Health will take on Charleston, West Virginia. Southern Maryland will take on Long Island. And, of course, the Honey Hunters are here at Truist Point to take on the High Point Rockers. A full slate of games that are going to start within about 5 to 10 minutes of each other this evening. We come back on the other side of this timeout. First pitch action between the Rockers and your Honey Hunters here on the Gastonia Honey Hunters Radio Network. We'll be right back. Folks, it's been the thrill. Back here in High Point, North Carolina, just moments away from the start of action between the Honey Hunters as they take on the High Point Rockers this evening. Thank you so much for being a part of the action tonight. Wherever you're tuning in and however you're tuning in, we thank you so much for being here with us on this Saturday night. Multiple ways you can find us, of course, is you can find us on the terrestrial airwaves. AM 1450, WGNC, 101.1 FM. Then, of course, our streaming apparatus, WGNCradio.com, GoHoneyHunters.com, amongst other streaming opportunities from the audio side. And then, of course, in conjunction with what's happening here at High Point with the good folks here with the Rockers, they are allowing us to tap into their video feed. We're bringing the audio and bringing the action to you on the Honey Hunters Radio Network through the Go Honey Hunters YouTube channel. So however you're tuning in tonight, we're so glad that you could join us this evening on the Honey Hunters Radio Network as Ivan Benero is throwing his warm-up tosses. The right-hander comes in with a 3-1 record, a 3.71 ERA, and he'll start off against this Gastonia lineup that looks like Reese Hampton, Jack Reinheimer, and Joseph Rosa. Now, Reese Hampton has been starting in the leadoff spot quite a bit since Hurley Rodriguez moved to Mexico to play in the Mexican League. Reese Hampton, what's different tonight is he is getting the start in right field tonight. Typically, he plays left field, but he's getting the start in right tonight. Zach Jarrett is switching with him. Zach Jarrett will be the left fielder this evening with Jake Skoll in center. Reese Hampton about to step into the box, a .240 hitter on the season. And we're about to be underway here at Truist Point. 90 degrees will be our first pitch temperature as Pinero will wheel and fire, and the pitch is taken for a ball to get things started here at 6:36. As Hampton, switch hitter out of the left-hand batter's box, is going to bunt it foul. as he tried to push it down the third base line in front of Michael Russell. Russell leads the Hampton leads the Atlantic League with 39 stolen bases on the season. He and Jack Reinheimer, who has 31, are top 2 in the league in stolen bases. As Reese Hampton waits on the 1-1 pitch from Ivan Pinheiro. The pitch is taken down to work the count to 2-1. The umpiring crew this evening, Carlos Echeverria will be calling the balls and strikes behind home plate. Lindy Hall is at first base. At third base, Calvin Baker this evening. Pinheiro, the 2-1. Hampton checks. The pitch is down. Count goes to 3-1. As Reese Hampton, of course, had a big week in the midweek against the York Revolution. We'll tell you more about it as the night progresses. Is that ball lifted into foul ground? Jerry Downs gives it chase, but it'll go into the seats here at Truist Point. I'm inside the radio booth. Tonight we had what looked to be storms heading toward the ballpark, but as has been so many times the case, the storms never made it. They either went around or they dissipated. And so therefore, it got to a point to where if you're going to sit outside, you better be 100% sure you're not going to have any weather. Well, I couldn't risk it tonight. As Hampton will take the pitch, that ball fouled over to the third base side. Russell is able to make the catch. As Russell, near the netting, on the third base side, is able to make the catch for the first out of the ball game. And that'll bring up Jack Reinheimer. Reinheimer coming in, a .276 hitter, 9 homers, 43 RBI. Reinheimer, a 2-hit game last night. So he had a double and a single. Is that pitch lifted into left field? Xander Wheel coming on. He'll make the catch. And there's quickly 2 down. That'll bring up Joseph Rosa with 2 down, a .334 hitter on the season, 14 homers, and 64 runs driven in. Rosa, in last night's contest, he had a pair of hits and 5 at-bats. He scored the only run of the game for High Point in the 5th inning that tied the game at 1. Pinheiro will deliver the pitch as he works a ball. Joseph Rosa is second in the Atlantic League in base hits with 97, as he's 10 behind Andretti Cordero. Here's the pitch from Pinheiro. Misses. Count works to 2-0. Just getting started here in High Point. So glad that you could join us this evening. It's Pinheiro. Looking in for the sign, has it, and will deliver the 2-0. Rosa will check his swing. It's called for a strike anyway. It's defensively, Xander Wheel in left field. Beneklinski in center. Jay Gonzalez over in right. The 2-1 from Pinheiro taken for strike 2. Is Rosa, the second switch hitter in the starting lineup, batting left-handed against the right-hander, Ivan Pinheiro. We talked about Pinheiro in the open. Young man who had a very good pitching performance the last time out, as Rosa will watch that ball bounce into the turf to run the count full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. So Rosa will step back into the box after adjusting his batting gloves And we'll be ready for the payoff here in the top of the first inning. The pitch from Pinero. Catches the inside edge. Rosa did not like that call. As he goes down looking, we've played a half an inning here in High Point, scoreless on the Honey Hunters Radio Network. We'll be right back. Back here at Truist Point, High Point, North Carolina, is Mason Mcallister, the newly signed right-hander for the Gastonia Honey Hunters, getting his final warm-up tosses knocked out before he begins his outing against the High Point Rockers. Mason Mcallister, 6'3", 195-pound right-hander out of Yukon, Oklahoma. His professional experience, one start for the Wild Health Genomes. As he was able to go 5 innings in the contest for Wild Health against the Lexington Legends, gave up no runs. That appearance came for one Mason Mcallister on July 6th. 5 1/3 innings, 3 hits, no errors. He walked 3 batters in the contest. He struck out 3. It's Michael Russell will get things started for the High Point Rockers. A .242 hitter on the season, 2 homers and 25 RBI. Mcallister wheels and fires. Fastball taken for a strike. So McAllister's fastball at 88 miles an hour. So McAllister misses up and in on his second delivery to Michael Russell. Played collegiately at Oklahoma Christian. It's the pitch. Misses. Count works to the scoreboard, has 3-1. McAllister wheels and fires. Russell hits that one high into the air, just behind the infield turf, if you will, the brown painted turf, signifying the infield. Jack Reinheimer makes the catch, and there's one down in the first inning. As Beniklenski will step to the plate with one down here in the bottom of the first inning. Gastonia went scoreless in the top of the first. The pitch out to right field. It's barely drifting back behind the turf. On the infield side, Castro's going to make the play as that ball didn't go nearly as far as I initially envisioned it. As Castro will make the catch for out number 2 in the inning. That'll bring up Xander Wheel. Xander Wheel comes into this game a .286 hitter, 21 home runs, 67 runs driven in. The pitch to Wheel. This is inside. Wheel getting the start in left field. We've seen him much of the time for the Rockers in the DH spot. But Lattimore in the last 2 games has been the DH. Wheel has been over in left field as that pitch misses wide. Mason Mcallister is brand new to the team. I mean brand new to the team. Mcallister was inadvertently locked out of the clubhouse area last night after the game. I let him in, having no idea that he was tonight's starting pitcher. After we kind of figured out that we belonged on the same bus, we were able to introduce ourselves and exchange pleasantries. But Mason Mcallister ready to go to work. Here's the pitch. Misses inside, and it's going to be a walk to Xander Wheel. So it'll be the first walk given up by Mason Mcallister. And that'll bring up Jerry Downs. Downs comes in a .278 hitter, 12 homers, 43 RBI. The first left-hander that Mason Mcallister will see in this ballgame. Downs drives the ball out to center field. It'll be played on a bounce to Jake Skull. And quickly runners at first and second here in the bottom half of the first inning. Defensive alignment this evening. Zach Jarrett over in left field. Skull in center. Reese Hampton in right. Raider Ascanio over at third. Jack Reinheimer at shortstop. Joseph Rosa at second. Luis Castro, the first baseman. Stuart Levy dropping the signs behind home plate. And this will bring up last night's hero, Quincy Lattimore, who had a long, long home run in the bottom of the 8th. As that ball bounced foul. Lattimore hit his 12th home run of the season last night. It was a solo shot that ultimately gave High Point their 3rd win of the second half, their first win at home against the Honey Hunters, and just their 2nd win overall against Gastonia. Mcallister wheels and fires as that ball hit sharply out into left field. Jarrett's going to play it off of a couple of bounces. He'll take the cutoff throw, and it's quickly now 1-0 in favor of the High Point Rockers. So a walk to Xander Wheel haunts Mason Mcallister. Couple of singles. High Point has a quick 1-0 lead. So Lattimore has RBI number 45 on the season. So Lattimore was able to drive that ball sharply into left field. And Tyler Ladendorf will now step to the plate, as Mason Mcallister has now officially given up his first run in the Atlantic League. It's the pitch. Misses up from Mcallister. Ladendorf, .244 hitter, 10 homers, 31 RBI. Here's the pitch. Fastball taken for a strike. Ladendorf, right-handed batter, waits on the 1-1 from Mcallister. Here's the pitch. Ladendorf is going to pop that one up behind home plate. Levy is going to be able to make the catch to retire the side. But a couple of hits, score a run, along with a walk for a High Point. They have a 1-0 lead as we go to the second here on the Honey Hunters Radio Network. We'll be right back. Top of the second inning, Gastonia behind 1-0 here on this Saturday night in High Point, North Carolina. As Ivan Pinero staked out to a quick 1-0 lead as Zach Jarrett will be followed up by Luis Roman and Luis Castro for the Gastonia Honey Hunters. Gastonia trying to snap a 2-game losing skid. It's the longest losing skids they've had this season. Have actually been 2 of them that lasted 3 games in length. Gastonia was swept by the Long Island Ducks at home, and then they lost 3 in a row on the road. It's the pitch to Zach Jarrett, taken for strike 1. Jarrett comes in a .292 hitter, 11 homers, and 42 RBI on the season. It's the pitch to Jarrett, catches the outside edge. And the count quickly goes to 0-2. Jarrett, a right-handed batter out of Hickory, North Carolina. It's Pinero. Throws the pitch in. Jarrett hits it sharply out to the second baseman, Tyler Ladendorf, who gets it over to Jerry Downs. And there's 1 down in the inning. We told you about the High Point Rockers defensively in the outfield. Their infield, Michael Russell at third base, Giovanni Alfonso at short, Tyler Ladendorf at second, Jerry Downs over at first. So that'll bring up Luis Roman. Roman, a .253 hitter, 10 homers, 38 RBI. It's the pitch to Roman. Taken for ball 1. It's the 1-0. Pitch misses, or I should say catches the outside edge to even the count at 1 apiece. Roman, a left-handed hitter. So he checks that one. Back to Pinero, who will take his time, allow Downs to get over to the bag. And there's 2 down in the inning. And that'll bring up Luis Castro. Tonight is agriculture night, or country night, as some folks are calling it. It's through the concourse here at Truist Point. There's all sorts of farm and agricultural equipment here at the ballpark. So if you're looking for a new combine, you can see what a combine simulator is. As the pitch from Castro popped straight up in the infield. Jerry Downs seems to have it measured. He'll reach up and make the catch, and that'll be an easy 1-2-3 inning for Ivan Pinheiro. He's had back-to-back 1-2-3 innings as we go to the bottom of the second. 1-0 High Point. We'll be back in just a bit. Bottom of the second inning. Gastonia trails 1-0 here against the High Point Rockers. Brian Rushing here with you. So glad that you could join us on this Saturday night. As Jay Gonzalez will lead things off for High Point, followed by Dakota Mulcahy and Giovanni Alfonso. It's Mason Mcallister through one inning and his Gastonia Honey Hunters debut. Gonzalez will step to the plate. Gonzalez, left-handed batter. Spent some time professionally in the Diamondbacks organization, making it all the way up to Double-A baseball. Collegiately, he played just a little bit down the road from here in Mount Olive, University of Mount Olive, as a matter of fact. It was Mount Olive College for a long, long time, but in recent years, they've made the transition to the University of Mount Olive, UMO. It's the pitch from Mcallister, taken for a strike. It's the crowd this evening. My view of the crowd is a little bit obscured here inside this radio booth. Last night I was outside. Now I am inside, which means that I wasn't going to get rained on. I could guarantee that. The problem is there's not a cloud in the sky now. And I really wish I were on the other side of this window. As the pitch misses from Mcallister. As the count goes to 3-1. Gonzalez, a .297 hitter, 2 homers, 22 RBI. Here's the pitch, misses up. Gonzalez is going to draw the walk. Second free pass given up by Mcallister. And Dakota Mulcahy will step to the plate, a .118 hitter with no homers and 1 RBI. Now that comes from a relatively small sample size of work, but the left-handed batter has an opportunity tonight to grow those numbers. Here's the pitch from Mcallister, fouled back to the screen. It's Mcallister, the right-hander, gets a brand new baseball. The Rockers this evening, they're wearing their all whites, the white jerseys with Rockers across the chest. Blue numbers on the back with blue belts, blue pants, or I should say white pants, with a blue helmet, blue hats tonight. Gastonia wearing the gray jerseys with the Gastonia written in an arc across the chest with the honey drip oozing back to the middle of the jersey. Numbers on the lower left rib cage and the back. Gray pants with a black piping stripe. Here's the pitch to Mulcahy. It's a fastball, misses up. It's Gonzalez down at first. He led off the inning with a walk. Mcallister, the pitch to Mulcahy, fouled back to the backstop, and it'll roll back to Stuart Levy, where the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. Bottom of the second inning here. High Point has the only 2 hits in the ball game as they scored a single run in the bottom half of the first. Mcallister will give Gonzalez a look, throwing it over to Luis Castro. Sunfield here at this ballpark, in all honesty, really is going to be set to center, to some degree right field. But this sun sets pretty much directly as that ball is going to head our way and into the picnic area and then out into the parking lot. The sun basically shoots right behind home plate here. There's a concourse area that's sort of open air that leads to some steps. And the sun later on in the day can actually create visibility problems for the middle infielders. As they look toward home plate, they can't help but look through that little area of the concourse as the pitch misses down. It's blocked by Levy to work the count to 2-2. It's Mason Mcallister here in the second inning, trying to work through Dakota Mulcahy. Mcallister has the sign. Here's the pitch. They'll foul it away. The shadows here at the ballpark, as you can see, if you're checking things out on YouTube, directly behind home plate, you can see the shadows moving past the mound and towards second base. It's actually a tough angle from behind home plate to see the YouTube action. Center field cam is much better as the pitch is fouled off again by Mulcahy. Mulcahy back in the box. Mcallister deals that pitch. Will be fouled away once more. It's Mulcahy staying in the at-bat here in the bottom of the second inning. Mcallister looks in for the sign from Stuart Levy. Mcallister deals that pitch. Fouled up and out of play once again as Mulcahy in a real bona fide battle here with Mason Mcallister. As they have been going at it for quite a bit here. So we're still stuck at 2 balls and 2 strikes with nothing going here. So Mcallister will throw over to first toward Gonzalez. Mulcahy's going to foul another pitch back behind home plate. Now toward the street that leads to parking lots. There's parking lots all around the ballpark. Some you can park for free, some cost you money, but they're all in relatively close proximity to one another. One day I drove up to a ball game here in High Point, and I just parked in a municipal parking lot about a block away. It was an easy get to the ballpark. It's Mulcahy still working against Mcallister. Here's the pitch. That ball's going to be lifted to the warning track over on the third base side. But because they've got Mulcahy shifted on the pull side so much, there was no way that Ascanio could get there as Mcallister got in Mulcahy's kitchen with that pitch. Not a lot of air underneath that foul ball. So Mcallister will look in again for the sign from Levy. This pitch swung on and missed. Jay Gonzalez breaking for second. He'll steal the base. There's finally one down in the inning as Dakota Mulcahy finally strikes out. It's Mcallister's first strikeout in a Honey Hunters uniform. Gonzalez with the stolen base is now down at second as that brings up Giovanni Alfonso. It's Gastonia down 1-0 in this ball game, bottom of the second inning. It's the pitch to Alfonso, misses. It's High Point. It's had 4 base runners in the game so far, 2 singles and 2 walks. Alfonso will foul the pitch back to the screen to even the count at 1-1. Mcallister has the sign from Levy. Waits on the pitch. Here's the 1-1. Almost got a piece of Alfonso. It's the count. Goes to 2-1. As Alfonso will swing and miss to run the count to 2-2. Mcallister with the pitch to Alfonso. Here it comes. That ball lifted into right field. Reese Hampton ranging up to make the catch, chasing Gonzalez back to second. And there's 2 down in the inning. That'll take us back to the top of the order for Michael Russell. It's Russell 0 for 1 in the ball game as he popped to shortstop his first time up. As Russell, in last night's ball game for the High Point Rockers, he walked in the first inning. He hit a double and reached third on a wild pitch. That was a very important part of the ball game at that time. As Henry Martinez was on the mound throwing his second inning of relief work. Russell had gotten to third with 1 down. They were threatening to score to give High Point a 2-0 lead, or I should say a 2-1 lead. Gastonia had scored in the top half of the 5th inning to tie things up. Well, Henry Martinez, in the course of that at bat, struck out Ben Aklenski and Xander Wheel, the 2 High Point All-Stars to end the threat in the 5th inning. Here's the pitch. Russell hits that one in the air to left field. Jarrett has it measured. He makes the catch. We've played 2 innings here in High Point. 1-0 Rockers here on the Honey Hunters Radio Network. We'll be right back. Top of the 3rd inning here in High Point, North Carolina. Brian Rushing here with you. So glad that you could join us on this Saturday evening. It's Gastonia down 1-0. Jake Skoll, Raider Ascanio, and Stuart Levy will face off against Ivan Pinero. It's the crowd tonight, as best I can tell, and of course my view is obscured here, not as good as what we had last night here. On a hot day like today, sometimes there's just other things that, as a family, you decide to go out and do. The Skoll will take the pitch for a ball. Jake Skoll comes into the contest, a .227 hitter, 14 homers and 32 RBI on the season. Pinero, fastball, cut on and missed. Count evens at 1-1. Pinero looks in for the sign from the catcher, Dakota Mulcahy. He'll wheel and fire the 1-1. Skoll's going to check it down the 3rd baseline, and Pinero's not going to be able to play it. Jake Skoll is going to have himself an infield single, or at least that's my expectation for how that one's going to be scored. As that one got in on the hands of Skoll just a little bit, and it was an excuse-me swing toward the 3rd base side, and Pinero came off the mound but was not able to make the play. So Skoll, maybe that's the start of something good. An excuse-me swing, gets a runner on at first. That'll bring up Raider Ascanio. Ascanio will take the pitch for ball 1. Ascanio, the right-handed hitter, batting .246 on the season. 3 homers, 29 RBI. It's the pitch to Ascanio, now taken for a strike to even the count at 1-1. Raider Ascanio out of Mariara, Venezuela. Got to the AAA level. So they'll throw over to first, chasing Skoll back. It's Pinero the last time out against these Gastonia Honey Hunters. Pitched 5 innings, 8 hits, 6 runs, all earned. He walked 3 and struck out 5. That was on July 6th. It was here in High Point. As Ascanio's going to roll that one over to Ladendorf. Ladendorf is going to try to go to second, but thought better of it. Decides to go to Downs over at first. There's one down here in the third inning. Skoll gets over to second. That'll bring up Stuart Levy. So Stuart Levy will step to the plate. Last night for Levy, he was 1 for 4 in the ball game. Comes into this game, the .241 hitter with 4 homers and 27 RBI. The former High Point rocker. Skoll's going to try to steal third. The throw is going to be in time. Oh, wow. This Calvin Baker was down at third. We'll try to see if I can spot the replay here. Is that throw looked late. So Calvin Baker punches out Skoll trying to steal third. And now there's 2 down in the inning. It's the pitch to Stuart Levy, misses down. It's the count evens at 1-1. It's the pitch to Levy, misses. Now the count 2-1. Levy waits, takes the pitch for a strike to even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. It's Pinero. That ball hit to the backhand side. The long throw from Giovanni Alfonso will be in time to get Levy. That'll retire the side. Gastonia gets a base hit, but they're not able to do anything with it on the caught stealing. We go to the bottom of the third, 1-0 High Point. We'll be back in just a bit. Folks, it's been bottom of the third inning, back here in High Point, North Carolina. So glad that you could join us on this Saturday evening. Gastonia got their first hit of the ball game as Jake Skoll got the excuse me single to the third base side, but was cut down at third trying to steal base. Stuart Levy ended the inning grounding out to shortstop. Here in the bottom of the third inning, we'll have Ben Aklinski, Xander Wheel, and Jerry Downs. It's the pitch to Aklinski, misses, the count 2-0. Mason Mcallister making his Gastonia Honey Hunters debut this evening. Has gotten through 2 innings. It's the pitch. Rolled foul to the third base side. Gastonia over in the third base dugout this evening, as is customary here in High Point. High Point, of course, always over on the first base side. For those of you that are tuning in this evening, I'll try to get to some scores next half. As Aklinski is going to foul that one back to the backstop. We'll get to some Atlantic League scores next half inning. And while we're looking for those scores here in just a bit, we'll also give you an opportunity to reach out to me this evening. As you can find me on Twitter this Saturday night, as Aklinski is going to bounce that one out to Reinheimer. Reinheimer gets rid of it quickly, and they're going to call him safe as Aklinski beat the wrap at first base. Lindy Hall making the call aggressively in favor of the Rockers' center fielder, as he has the third hit of the game. As we look at the replay, and Ben Aklinski did a very good job busting it down the line. So he has the infield single to lead off things here in the bottom of the third inning. That'll bring up Xander Wheel. High Point has out-hit Gastonia 3-1 so far this evening. Last night, Gastonia out-hit High Point 8-6. The bugaboo for the Honey Hunters, 12 men left on base. They were 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. So when you look back at the fact that this club lost 2-1, especially as well as they had been hitting the ball up until Thursday morning against York, it was kind of puzzling. It's the throw back over to first. Chases Aklinski back to the bag. Folks, if you'd like to find me on Twitter, at WhatsUpBRush. That's at WhatsUpBRush. Would love for you to follow me. If you do so, I will look to reciprocate, assuming that you're an actual person and you're maintaining a relatively clean profile on your Twitter handle. It's the pitch cut on and missed. The count evens at 1-1. Aklinski, the runner at first, being held on by Castro. Most of the infield covered in shadows at this point of the evening. So they'll throw back over to first. Aklinski getting a lot of attention from one Mason Mcallister. This, of course, is Mcallister's first Honey Hunter start, just his second start in the Atlantic League. Wearing number 33 for the Honey Hunters. Here's the pitch to Wheel. Wheel's going to foul it back up and out of play. Sometimes I'll take a gander over at the scoreboard in right field to see what the pitch speed was. And, well, here at High Point, sometimes it seems that there's a bit of a malfunction with the way the gun works. For instance, last night, Sam Bordner started with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Now, I can believe that. It's the pitch to Wheel. Set out to center field. Skoll drifts over toward the left center gap. He'll make the catch. And Aklinski will retreat to first. But for instance, one of the pitches that I noticed on the gun It's at 47 miles an hour. Now, I would imagine that Mason Mcallister's changeup is a really good one, but I don't think he's throwing 47 miles an hour. As Jerry Downs will step to the plate with one down here in the bottom of the third inning. If you want to send a tweet to me this evening, if you've got a question for me, love to hear from you. I'll do my best to answer the question so much as I can put together a solid answer. As Aklinski takes some time looking over at his first base coach, now takes a lead. A 1-0 count to Jerry Downs. Downs got a base hit. As he rolls that one to Rosa. Rosa to Reinheimer, the return throw to Castro. It's a 4-6-3 double play, which will take us through 3 innings. High Point has a 1-0 lead here on the Honey Hunters Radio Network. We'll be back in just a minute. Folks, do you find yourself lacking? And we go to the top of the 4th inning. Gastonia trailing by a run. It's Ivan Pinheiro going into his 4th inning of work against these Honey Hunters. Gastonia has played 12 innings of baseball so far, and they've only been able to muster 1 run. So it seems like in York, they were having moments they were scoring a run for every out. As Reese Hampton will lead things off here in the 4th inning for the Honey Hunters. As Gastonia will have the speedy right fielder to lead off. He popped out to third in foul ground. Michael Russell made a great play as Pinheiro's pitch misses down. Hampton hit home runs on Tuesday night and Wednesday night. That ball back up the middle. Alfonso with the spinning throw, not going to be able to get Reese Hampton. Giovanni Alfonso is probably one of the purest defensive shortstops in the Atlantic League. He is sensational. However, that ball hit up the middle. Alfonso actually fielded the baseball on the second base side of second before spinning over to Downs and was not able to get the speedy Reese Hampton, who gets the infield single. So Gastonia has a couple of infield singles. Maybe they can drive something into the outfield and put up a crooked number here on this evening. Pinheiro will throw over to first, chasing Hampton back. Reinheimer flew out to left field his first time up. Pinheiro looks in for a sign, delivers. Reinheimer's going to lift that one up and toward the seats here into the suites area. The Catalyst Club here at Truist Point basically serves in the same way that the GSM Premium Club suites, or the suite, works for the folks at Caramont Health Park. As the throw over to first chases Hampton back. There's really not suites at the ballpark. At Caramont Health Park, they have cabanas over on the third base side. 6 of them, as a matter of fact, and they're pretty sweet. As Reinheimer's going to foul that pitch back toward the seats behind home plate. And looks like everybody avoids considerable danger. As soon as a foul ball goes into the crowd, I'm always intrigued by some of the reactions that you get from folks. There are folks that think that putting their hands on top of their head is going to somehow make being struck in the head by a baseball any better. And it's not. As Pinero delivers, Hampton goes. The pitch swung on and missed. Hampton's going to have himself another stolen base as it's number 40 on the season. The strikeout for Reinheimer is the first out in the inning. It's the second strikeout for Ivan Pinero. That'll bring up Joseph Rosa. Rosa struck out looking his first time up. That was the only strikeout prior to Reinheimer that we had seen in the game so far. If you've never been to the Cabanas at Caramont Health Park, well, you should check it out sometime. It's really nice. I mean, especially for those games in April that are played at home on those nights that can get into the low 50s, maybe even the upper 40s on the rarest occasion. It's the pitch to Rosa, taken for a strike, and Rosa again. That pitch on the inside edge, Rosa is not convinced that those are strikes. It's Carlos Echeverria rang up Rosa on a strikeout in the first inning. Now in his second plate appearance has already seen another pitch that wasn't to his liking. Pinero delivers that ball in the turf. It's blocked beautifully by Dakota Mulcahy. 1-0 lead for the High Point Rockers against Gastonia on this Saturday night. So glad that you could join us on the Honey Hunters Radio Network. The shadows are starting to overtake the field, even into the outfield. So I would imagine these lights will take more of an effect here within about an hour. Rosa's going to foul that pitch at the plate. So Reese Hampton led off with an infield single. He stole second on the strikeout of Jack Reinheimer. Rosa in the left-handed batter's box. Waits on the offering from Ivan Pinero. Pinero can't get on the same page with Mulcahy. And Rosa now takes time. Steps back in. Here's the pitch. That ball's going to get away from Mulcahy. Mulcahy tries to throw. Hampton gets down to third on the wild pitch, and if it hadn't have been for Russell putting together an unbelievable stop over at the third base bag, this game would have been tied. As Mulcahy spun and made a throw down to third that was somewhat reckless. And it almost got away from Russell, and if it had, it would have scored Hampton easily. So the wild pitch will send Reese Hampton to third, and now Rosa has so many ways that he can tie this game up here in the top of the fourth inning. As that pitch misses inside. Count evens. Well, it now runs to 3-2. My apologies. So Rosa waits on to 3-2 from Pinero. Here's the pitch. Rosa is going to lift that, heading toward us. As that ball was very close to hitting a couple of patrons here that are on the other side of the window, about 6 to 8 feet from me. That was a potentially dangerous situation for a couple of fans that made their way to the ballpark this evening, but they made it out okay. They might want to get to their seat as Rosa lifts that one high into shallow left field. Alfonso will make the catch. And there's 2 down in the inning. That'll bring up Zach Jarrett. As Jarrett will step up to the plate with 2 down here in the top of the fourth inning. High Point with the 1-0 advantage. Jarrett grounded to second his first time up. Here's the pitch, misses outside. Hampton 90 feet away from tying this ball game up. Hampton with the infield single, stole second and reached third on the wild pitch. Jarrett will foul that one off at the plate. We do have some scores from around the league and a full slate of action. As Jarrett fouls the 1-1 back to the screen to work it to 1-2. Charleston has a 2-0 lead on Wild Health, top of the third inning. Bottom of the third inning, York leads Lancaster 1-0. Long Island has a 2-1 lead against Southern Maryland. That's in the top of the fourth. Staten Island leads Lexington 2-0 in the top of the fourth. The pitch from Pinero misses down and away. The count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. We'll keep track of those throughout. Of course, we'll give you one final look-see at those scores during tonight's postgame show. Pinero, pitch misses down, and the count is full. Luis Roman is the batter on deck if Jarrett can keep the inning alive. Jarrett in the box, waits on the pitch from Pinero. As the ball hit sharply toward the corner, and it's going to get down as Zach Jarrett has himself an RBI double as Reese Hampton scores easily. And we're tied at 1 apiece. And so Zach Jarrett with the RBI double has evened things up at 1 apiece. That'll bring up Luis Roman. As now Zach Jarrett continues his hot hitting, as he has now reached in 31 of his last 32 games, including 30 games where he's reached on a hit. And his 18-game hitting streak now is where he stands. As he's batting now right at around 370 since June 1st. or I should say since July 1st, with 5 homers and now 17 RBI. So Gastonia has watched their cleanup hitter tie this up at a run apiece, and he's down at second as Luis Roman waits on a 1-1 pitch, and Pinero is going to look back at Jarrett. Pinero has the sign. Roman drives the ball out to right field. Jay Gonzalez toward the corner. He'll make the catch and retire the side. But Gastonia gets a run on the board. Zach Jarrett with an RBI double evens things up here in High Point as we go to the bottom of the 4th on the Honey Hunters Radio Network. Folks, it's been the bottom of the 4th inning here in High Point, North Carolina, tied at 1 here on the Honey Hunters Radio Network. So glad that you could join us on this Saturday night. As Quincy Lattimore will lead things off here in the bottom of the 4th inning, as Zach Jarrett has leveled this thing at 1 apiece. And Mason Mcallister will go into his 4th inning of work. Here's the pitch to Quincy Lattimore. Foul ball down toward the Gastonia bullpen over on the third base side. Gastonia, of course, with a comfortable lead at this point in the second half, and they've already wrapped up a playoff spot. So if they'd like to go as wire-to-wire winners this season in the South Division, they certainly want to avoid the long losing streak. This is a club that has a 6-game advantage over Wild Health and Lexington, as they are 13-2 in the second half. It's the pitch from Mcallister, misses the count, 2-1. Wild Health and Lexington at 7 and 8 in the second half. Charleston at 7 and 9. High Point at 3 and 12, as they have had a couple of really long losing stretches in the season, as the pitch evens the count at 2 and 2. It's Mcallister will wheel and fire. As the pitch fouled off at the plate by Quincy Lattimore, and he is really, really dinged up as he can't even get up. So there's going to be folks to attend to Quincy Lattimore. Joe Geck, of course, the athletic trainer for the High Point Rockers. And Quincy Lattimore still at home plate has not been able to get on his feet just yet. So as they tend to him, that'll give me an opportunity to remind all of you folks out there tuning in this evening that a half-season ticket is a very viable option for those that are wanting a couple of things. A chance to catch all the action of the Gastonia Honey Hunters, and not only that, but get an inside track on playoff tickets, which, speaking of which, you want to keep an eye out for social media and the website, gohoneyhunters.com, for some special announcements coming on Monday. And I'm going to leave it like that. But if you've got a half-season ticket, first of all, you're going to save a lot of money. As opposed to just buying tickets at the window, you're going to save a good bit of money. You're going to get the Atlantic League Stadium Pass, which really is like a second season ticket. It gets you into all of the other games. So if you want to, come to High Point, watch your Honey Hunters take on the Rockers, well, you can do that. They'll give you the best available seat that they have. All you got to do is show your Atlantic League season or stadium pass to the folks at the ticket window. And then, of course, there is that thing called playoffs. It's Gastonia, after playing on the 18th of September in Charleston, West Virginia, will prepare for the playoffs on September the 20th. And eventually, those announcements will be made at some point, determining where Gastonia will open their playoff schedule, whether at home or on the road, and who they'll face off against, because not even that's been determined yet. Mcallister looks in for the sign. A 2-2 count. Here's the pitch. It's Lattimore grounds it over to Reinheimer. Reinheimer throws it to Castro, who picks it off the turf. And there's one down. And Lattimore still appears to be in quite a bit of discomfort. That'll bring up Tyler Ladendorf. Ladendorf popped to the catcher in foul territory. His only time up in this ball game. It's Gastonia tying things up here in the top half of the fourth. So we're even at one run apiece. It's the pitch to Ladendorf, misses down. Mcallister, the pitch fouled back by Ladendorf. The count evens at 1-1. It's Mason Mcallister making his debut with the Gastonia Honey Hunters this evening. The count now 1-2 to Tyler Ladendorf. As the sun is beginning to set here in High Point as that slider misses. Count evens at 2-2. Tomorrow we'll be on the air at 3:50 for a 4:05 first pitch. And I'm really hoping that I'm going to be outside for that one. Perhaps the rain stays away. Calling a game here in High Point is much better when it's outdoors. You just pick up so much ambient sound, the atmosphere of the crowd, it just really is so much better. As the strikeout of Ladendorf is the second out in the inning, and Mason Mcallister has his second strikeout of the ball game. That'll bring up Jay Gonzalez. Gonzalez walked his only time up. in the second inning. It's the pitch from Mcallister taken for a strike. It's here in the radio booth, down on the far end past the bullpen. It's Mcallister. Misses to even the count at 1-1. I'm looking through a couple of windows. I'm actually looking on the edge of a suite here, down on the right field side, is the pitch taken for strike 2. I am able to peek into the control room to look at replay from time to time. But there are a lot of moving bodies and pieces of things trying to get this broadcast to you this evening as that pitch misses down. As the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mcallister wheels and fires. The pitch fouled out of play. As that made its way down toward the tented tabletops down near the kids' playground. High Point's done a good job of having many a thing here for the youngsters and families to take part in. The pitch from Mcallister, hit, back to Mcallister. He knocks it down, throws it over to Castro. Castro will stay on the bag. Mcallister is through 4 innings here in High Point. We're tied at 1 as we go to the 5th on the Honey Hunters Radio Network. Top of the 5th inning. Luis Castro will lead things off here for the Gastonia Honey Hunters. It's Brian Rushing here with you. So glad that you could join us this evening for a little Atlantic League baseball. As Mason Mcallister has acquitted himself quite nicely in his Gastonia Honey Hunters debut. So we'll get a chance to get into the 5th, but right now Gastonia would love to turn up the offense a little bit as Ivan Pinero misses with a pitch high. As Gastonia finally got on the board in the top half of the 4th. So that's tied things up here. It's Pinero. Curveball taken for strike 1. Castro is popped to the first baseman, Jerry Downs, and is only at bat of the ball game. Pinero Gets ahead 1-2 to Castro, who swings and misses on the 1-1 offering. Gastonia's had to make a couple of transactions this week. As Castro swings and misses, he's a strikeout victim for the first out in the 5th. And that's the 3rd strikeout for Ivan Pinheiro. That'll bring up Jake Skull. Jake Skull got the first hit of the ball game for the Honey Hunters. An excuse-me swing down the third base side that Pinheiro was not able to make the play defensively on. And then he was ultimately cut down at third, according to third base umpire Calvin Baker. So Skull, left-handed batter, steps in the box, waits on the pitch from Pinheiro. He swings and misses on the first offering. Breaking ball at 80 miles an hour. Skull swings and misses to run the count to 0-2. Skull had a pair of homers against the York Revolution. He hit one on Tuesday night. He hit it deep to right field, and then, of course, the one to center field was probably one of the deepest balls that anybody's hit in a Honey Hunters uniform recently. As that ball cleared the batter's eye that was 405 feet away, and the fence sat up about 20 feet high, and he cleared it with ease. Pinheiro's pitch. Skull rolls it foul. So Skull will get another opportunity behind 1-2 here in the top of the 5th inning. Pinheiro looks in for the sign. He'll wheel and fire. This is outside. Count evens at 2-2. Gastonia, 1 run on 3 hits, no errors. High Point, 1 run, 3 hits, no errors. Skull is going to foul the pitch back to the backstop. Earlier this week, Trey Holmes was signed by the Honey Hunters to be the other outfielder in this core as the pitch misses down, runs the count full. And now Mason Mcallister getting his first start, trying to establish himself as a member of this Honey Hunters rotation. As the pitch misses just inside, and Jake Skull gets the walk. Skull last night, he drew a walk in the game. Drew 2 walks, as a matter of fact. He was 0 for 2 in the contest, but he reached twice by way of the walk, and that'll bring up Raider Escanio. And Dakota Mulcahy took his mask off. Not much, but enough to wipe the sweat off of his mouth with his catcher's mitt, and maybe to have a word with Carlos Echeverria. As Escanio will take the pitch for a ball. So we owe the station an ID. We'll get to that after this pitch unless Escanio puts the ball in play. Here's the pitch. Pitch taken high. They'll check down to first. They'll say that he did not commit. We'll take the station ID right now on the Honey Hunters Radio Network.
Your home for Gastonia Honey Hunters baseball. AM 1450, 101.1 FM, and streaming on the TuneIn app. WGNC.
Raider Escaño lifts that ball out into left field. Xander Wheel makes the catch, and there's 2 down in the inning. And that'll bring up Stuart Levy. Skull back at first. 2 down here in the 5th inning. Levy, his first time up in the ball game, grounded to shortstop. It's the pitch to Levy. Misses for ball 1. It's Gastonia tied in a 1-1 game here and on a Saturday night at Truist Point. So here's the pitch. Levy fouls that one back to the screen to even the count at 1-1. Skull down at first. 2 outs in the inning. Skull takes a little more of a lead. Pinero delivers. Levy lifts the ball out to right center field. Jay Gonzalez drifting over. He'll make the catch, and that'll retire the side. As Gastonia leaves a runner on, we're halfway through in High Point, tied at 1 on the Honey Hunters Radio Network. We'll be right back. Back here, Truist Point in High Point, North Carolina. So glad that you're tuning in this Saturday evening here on the Honey Hunters Radio Network as Mason Mcallister is now in his 5th inning of work. And for someone making a debut when you really don't have much of a book on a guy, to get into the 5th inning and be even at 1 at this point, you got to feel pretty good about that, as he has matched wits with Ivan Pinero in this contest. As High Point will have Dakota Mulcahy, Giovanni Alfonso, and Michael Russell batting here in the 5th inning. There is some stirring for the Gastonia bullpen way on the other side of the stadium, but it's just walking around and stretching. There's no throwing yet. Now there is throwing on the High Point side. So that's Junior Rincon, who is throwing in the bullpen for the Rockers. And he looks to be throwing with some intent, which means we may see the end of Ivan Pinero's night. As the pitch lifted out to right center field, Jake Skoll drifting back. He'll make the catch a step shy of the warning track as Dakota Mulcahy put a charge into it. It was caught by Jake Skoll, and that'll be the first out in the 5th inning. And I've got a question that came into me, and I'll address it here in a moment. But before I do that, I want to let you folks know that the decision to buy or sell your home is a lifetime decision, and it's one you'll always remember. Moss Realty makes your experience pleasant, hassle-free, with no hoops to jump through. Moss Realty can do that for you, and they've done so for more than 20 years. You can reach out to Moss Realty at 704-865-5555 or mossrealty.com. Give them a call on Monday. See what they can do to help you in your search to buy or sell a home. It's the pitch to Alfonso, fouled back to the screen. Now, of course, the really neat thing about the multitude of ways that we can bring the action here on the Honey Hunters Radio Network is the fact that those that are listening on the terrestrial signal, you get us all night. We're on, it's fantastic. Streaming, the same thing, but with this added YouTube element for all home games and select road games, it changes things dramatically. As that pitch is going to be sailed into the netting over on the first base side. As Alfonso finds himself down 0-2. The nephew of Edgardo Alfonso, the Staten Island manager, and the son of Edgar Alfonso, who played down in Venezuela, which is where Giovanni Alfonso was born, but he was raised in Port St. Lucie, Florida. It's Alfonso. We'll have that one lift to the first base side out of play. In a 1-1 ball game. So on the YouTube side, and of course, there's an opportunity to interact with folks on YouTube, and there's also an opportunity to interact on social media. As Mcallister's pitch to Alfonso will be fouled away once more. You can reach out to me at What's Up B-Rush throughout the course of the broadcast. If you've got a question for me, I'll do my best to get to it. If you just want to say hello, I'll try to acknowledge you on the air. But I had a question come in on the YouTube side from Michael Thayer, who was asking about being a switch hitter and changing sides during the middle of an at-bat. As that ball's going to be lifted out to right field. Reese Hampton camps underneath it, makes the catch, and there's 2 down. So that'll bring up Michael Russell. Now, the question for Michael Thayer is, can a batter switch sides? And the short answer is yes. Effectively, he can switch sides as he wants to. I don't necessarily know why you would want to do it multiple times during that bat, but whatever. This is coming from BaseballRulesAcademy.com. It's the pitch from Mcallister, misses. Unlike the pitcher, the batter can switch continuously from the left to the right side of the plate during the same at-bat. However, there is one exception. Never during the pitcher's windup can the batter switch sides. If so, he's out. As Russell can't hold up on the swing, as the count evens at 1-1. So, for instance, one of the things that really brought this about was, for instance, the ambidextrous pitcher, Pat Venditti. It's the pitch taken for strike 2. Mcallister 1 strike away from getting through 5 innings for Gastonia here in a 1-1 ball game. Of course, Venditti was able to throw from either the left or right side. Now, he had to declare to a batter, that's the way the rule eventually went, what he was going to do. As that ball hit sharply out to right center field, and Jake Skoll makes a phenomenal catch. Jake Skoll taking care of business out in center field. Nobody gets the jump on Jake. As Jake makes the catch to retire the side, we go to the 6th. We'll tell you more about the question and we're talking about in just a little bit. Gastonia tied 1-1 with High Point on the Honey Hunters Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a public service, here's a little
Top of the sixth inning. Here's the Gastonia Honey Hunters, even with the High Point Rockers. Brian Rushing here. So glad that you could join us on this Saturday night, as Junior Rincon is now on for the High Point Rockers. As Rincon, the right-hander, comes in with no record on the year, a 1.42 ERA, making his 7th appearance. 6 1/3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 run. He's walked 5, struck out 8, a 143 average against. As Rincon, 6'2" right-hander out of Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, spent some time with the Mississippi Braves before matriculating to High Point, North Carolina. As it'll be Reese Hampton to lead things off here in the 6th inning, followed by Jack Reinheimer and then Joseph Rosa. Tied at 1 apiece. As Hampton facing another right-hander, of course, which is apropos to the question that Michael Thayer asked me a half inning ago. Could Hampton, if he wants to, bat from the right side? The answer is yes, as the pitch misses down. And according to Baseball Rules Academy, and there's videos showing, and these videos are really good stuff. Chris Welch, who is a color commentary for the Cincinnati Reds television network, Bally Sports, up in Ohio, works with umpire Ted Barrett, who's one of the best in the business, at how these rules are applied. As the pitch from Rincon misses, the count is 2-0. So Reese Hampton, who got a hit, an infield hit, in the 4th inning, he scored to tie the game. As Hampton is going to rope a ball out in the right field. Jay Gonzalez gets to it quickly, but Reese Hampton's going to challenge the arm of Gonzalez, and he gets in easily with the slide. It's Reese Hampton, now with his 2nd hit, has a runner in scoring position immediately for Jack Reinheimer. So Michael Thayer, all you've got to do is go to baseballrulesacademy.com, and you can see video instances of how this rule is applied. So thanks for the question. If anybody has a question on Twitter, all you got to do is find me at What's Up B-Rush. And then, of course, during our live chat this evening on YouTube, I'll probably stay around there through the 7th inning for those that may have questions. So Reinheimer takes a first pitch for a strike. Now that it's getting darker here at the ballpark, the sky's beginning to wash out a little bit, making things a little tougher for the defenders, but I can now see the field a little better and toggle more from what's happening on the field to what's happening on the monitors over in the control room right next to me. I have to do a little dancing and a little dodging to try to get an angle because there's lots of bodies here that I have to work around. So the count is 0-2 to Jack Reinheimer. Reinheimer 0-2 in the ball game. It's that pitch. Misses down. Reese Hampton led off the 6th inning with a double. He's down at second. Gastonia does have someone throwing in the bullpen. Problem is, I can't quite make out who that is. As Rincon looks in for the sign, the 1-2 count will bring this pitch. Rincon will now step off, as he didn't like something that he saw either at second base in Reese Hampton or at the plate in Jack Reinheimer. It's Rincon trying to get a sign. Here's the pitch. Reinheimer's going to chop it foul. So Jack Reinheimer is trying to keep some positive momentum going here for Gastonia in the 6th inning. We'll wait on the 1-2 from Junior Rincon. And now we're going to have a meeting. It's Carlos Echeverria. It's going to come out and follow what's transpiring. He was a little late to the party, so it'll be interesting to see. Echeverria hasn't given a signal. So it appears that meeting is not going to be considered a mound meeting, as they were just going over signs, apparently. Giovanni Alfonso did come in to help out the conversation. Here's the pitch. Reinheimer hits a ball to right center field. Aklinski has it measured. He'll make the catch. But Reese Hampton strolls easily into third with one down in the inning. And that'll bring up Joseph Rosa. So Joseph Rosa will step to the plate with one down here in the 6th inning. Gastonia in a tie ball game. Will have an opportunity to score here with less than 2 outs, and 2 of their best hitters in the lineup with an opportunity to do something. Rosa 0 for 2 in the ball game. As Rosa drives the ball to center field, that's going to be very deep, and deep enough to score Reese Hampton. As Reese Hampton with the leadoff double scores on the sac fly from Joseph Rosa. That's RBI 65 for Rosa, and Gastonia has the 2-1 advantage. And that'll bring up Zach Jarrett. Well, that right there is a bit of a microcosm in how Goose Gazzo likes to get it done. Of course, everybody loves a crooked number every inning, and they experience some of that in York, but using the speed to get on with a double, get over with a fly ball, and then get home with another fly ball, as Jarrett's going to roll that one back up the middle. Alfonso not going to be nearly in time to get Jarrett, as Jarrett has another base hit. And Zach Jarrett continues to just pillory the baseball. So he hit that ball sharply back up the middle. So we'll see here on those watching YouTube, Alfonso again making a phenomenal play, but nothing that he could do on the throw would have gotten Jarrett, as Jarrett has fantastic speed. Jarrett has 24 stolen bases on the season, which is double his best season's output in steals, which was last year between Bowie, Maryland, and Norfolk, Virginia. Bowie, of course, a member of the Eastern League, the Bowie Bay Sox, Norfolk, the Tides, member of the International League, all in the Orioles chain. Rincon will now work on Luis Roman. The pitch misses down. So Gastonia with a 2-1 advantage here in the 6th inning. And Randall Delgado is the pitcher that is warming up for the Honey Hunters. The only way that I can tell that is because of Delgado's motion. I can't see his number from here. The way this works is I'm almost in Forsyth County. Delgado's almost in Guilford County. Jarrett's going to go. The pitch inside. Jarrett's going to get the stolen base. And now he's got 25 on the year. And the Gastonia Honey Hunters, they continue to steal bases at an amazing clip. This is a club that really loves to run the bases. They'll throw down to second. And the ball got past Alfonso. Alfonso tried to deke Jarrett into staying at second as Aklinski came on to get the ball back into the infield. As Rincon was very nervous about what was transpiring on that potential pickoff play. Rincon to Roman. Roman fouls that one off at the plate. 2-1 the count. It's Gastonia with a run here in the top of the 6th inning. Reese Hampton scored on a sac fly from Joseph Rosa. Now Mason Mcallister, who will likely hand the ball to somebody, likely Randall Delgado in the bullpen, has a chance to pick up a win in his first appearance in a Gastonia uniform. And now they're going to hold up 4, I believe, and Luis Roman will get the walk. So with runners at first and second, that'll bring up Luis Castro. Castro in the ball game 0 for 2. A pop to first base, a strikeout. Here's the pitch. Castro hits it out to Alfonso. Alfonso goes the short route to Ladendorf. But a run scores for Gastonia. Joseph Rosa hits the sac fly. Gastonia takes a 2-1 lead into the bottom of the 6th. Here at Truist Point. We'll be back in just a moment on the Honey Hunters Radio Network. Bottom of the sixth inning, Ben Aklinski to face off against Randall Delgado. As Mason Mcallister's night comes to a close, Delgado with a first pitch strike. We'll get to Delgado's numbers first, and then we'll talk about Mason Mcallister, as he is in line for the win for Gastonia, if Gastonia's bullpen can hold on here. It's the pitch taken for strike two. Mcallister this evening, 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned. He walked 2. He struck out 2. As the pitch to Aklinski buried in the turf, the count goes to 1-2. For Delgado this year, 1-0 record on the season, a .78 ERA, making his 14th appearance. 23 innings pitched, 14 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned. He walked 10, struck out 20. A 177 average against. There's a foul ball at the plate. Keeps the count at 1-2. As Aklinski will get back in the box. Here in the bottom of the sixth inning, Gastonia with a 2-1 advantage. A run scored in the fourth, and a run in the fifth, or the sixth, I should say, as Aklinski grounds it over to Ascanio. Ascanio with the throw, the tag applied by Castro, and he is hurting. As the throw from Ascanio took Castro into the runner Aklinski. He was able to make the tag, but he had his wrist snap back, and now Anna McCraw is going to go out to the field to try to see if she can take a look at Luis Castro. And Goose Gazzo will follow right behind her. So there'll be 1 out in the inning as Aklinski grounds out 5-3. We'll have an opportunity to go into some scores from around the Atlantic League in here in just a moment. That's why we've got an opportunity. I can let you know that Fridays are family fun days this season at Caramont Health Park. Be here for all the action and some fireworks, as we still have fireworks shows remaining in this Gastonia baseball season. Get your tickets at GoHoneyHunters.com. Is Castro basically on the mound, having aid administered by Anna McCraw. It's Goose Gazzo looking in on the conversation as well. So Anna McCraw seems satisfied. Goose Gazzo, he's satisfied. We'll go back to the action as Anna McCraw making a cameo appearance tonight on the YouTube video. Of course, Anna joined the club mid-season. For those that spend time in Cleveland County, they got to know Anna very well, as she was one of the crew of athletic training staff at Shelby High School. So she's now decided to head east a little bit and work with the Honey Hunters. As Delgado, his first pitch, it's a breaking ball to Xander Wheel. Wheel, on a day to where the team didn't have batting practice on the field, well, Wheel decided to bring the pitching machine out and got some hacks in against the machine. And he had it dialed up as he grounds this one over to Ascanio. Ascanio fields, flips it over to Castro, and there's 2 down. And Randall Delgado has been very sharp through 2 batters. This 2-1 Gastonia lead. That'll bring up Jerry Downs with 2 down in the inning. Delgado out of the set position, the former Arizona Diamondback throws a first pitch at the knees for strike 1. Around the league, Staten Island has a 2-1 lead over Lexington, bottom of the 6th. Long Island beating Southern Maryland 3-2, bottom 6th. York hanging on to that 1-0 lead over Lancaster, top 6. Top 5, it's 4-0 Charleston over Wild Health. Here, 2-1 Honey Hunters. Delgado with an 0-2 count. The pitch misses up. Downs in the ball game, has a single, and he hit into a 4-6-3 double play. And it was that double play that really seemed to get Mason Mcallister kind of locked in as he retired the final 7 batters that he faced. As the pitch misses down to even the count at 2-2. It's Delgado. Deals the 2-2. Downs will foul it back to the screen. Of course, with Downs at the plate, they're going to run a pull shift, and this is as far a pull shift as you would imagine. Reinheimer, because he can only go so far over, is stationed about as far pull side as he possibly can. As that ball is going to be lifted out into shallow center field. Reinheimer makes the catch, and that'll retire the side. A 1-2-3 inning for Randall Delgado will take us to the 7th inning. Gastonia leads 2-1 on the Honey Hunters Radio Network.
Being first.
Top of the 7th inning, Gastonia with a 2-1 advantage. As Junior Rincon is back on for his 2nd inning of work. As Gastonia will send Jake Skoll, Raider Ascanio, and Stuart Levy to the plate. Jake Skoll ended the 5th inning with a phenomenal defensive play in right center field. We've seen it before. Folks do something on the defensive end, and it translates into something positive on the offensive end. We'll see what happens here as Skoll gets his first plate appearance against Junior Rincon. As the pitch misses down, a 2-1 Gastonia lead runs in the 4th and the 6th inning. Skoll, the left-handed batter, waits on the offering from Rincon. Slider misses the count 2-0. Rincon out of the set position will now fire the 2-0, and Skoll will foul the pitch back. Skoll has reached one time in the ball game. He's 0 for 1 officially. I should say he's 1 for 1 officially. He singled in the third. He reached on a walk. 1 of 5 Gastonia base hits. It's the pitch taken for strike 2. Count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Rincon delivers. As the pitch misses, and now the count runs full. Mason Mcallister did very well for his club in his debut. 5 innings pitched, 3 hits allowed. Here's the payoff, and Jake Skoll thought he had a base on balls, but instead, Carlos Echeverria punched him out for strike 3, and Skoll was not very happy and had some parting words as he left the batter's box. That pitch looked like it was in the top, at the very top of the zone, if not a little too high. But it's called a strike. Echeverria punched him out. And Raider Ascanio is going to check a ball down the first baseline foul. So 1 down here in the 7th inning as Raider Ascanio, who's 0 for 2 in the ball game, steps to the plate. He'll foul another pitch back, and he falls behind 0-2. As Ascanio flies out to left, grounds out to second. As Ascanio will foul the pitch back, and the count is 0-2. Tomorrow we'll be on the air at 3:50 for a 4:05 first pitch, as we'll see former Honey Hunters pitcher Sam Burton pitching for High Point. As Ascanio swings and misses, and that's a second strikeout here in the 7th inning for Junior Rincon. And with 2 down, that'll bring up Stuart Levy. Ascanio way out in front of the breaking ball. As Levy. It's grounded to short, flown out to right. As Rincon buries one in the turf. Gastonia does have some throwing down in the bullpen. And with the flexible options that they have, they've got a lot of different directions they can go if they want to. It looks like Chad Sabatka down in the bullpen right now. With the way things went last night, as the pitch taken for a strike to Levy, you could even easily see Sabatka here in the 7th, Torres Costa in the 8th, and then Balaguer in the 9th. Here's the pitch. Levy drives the ball to left center field. Klensky cruising over. He'll make the catch. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Junior Rincon. We go to stretch time with Gastonia leading 2-1 here on the Honey Hunters Radio Network. We'll be right back.
Don't miss out on all the action at
Bottom of the 7th inning. Gastonia with a 2-1 advantage here on the Honey Hunters Radio Network. Wherever you're tuning in this evening, thank you. Whether it's the terrestrial signal at AM 1450 WGNC or 101.1 FM, our streaming options at WGNC Radio or GoHoneyHunters.com, or whether or not you're tuning in on the Go Honey Hunters YouTube channel, thank you for tuning in this evening. As Chad Sabatka gets the baseball from Goose Gazzo here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Is Sabatka, well, he, like many of the guys in the bullpen for Gastonia, have been pretty rock solid. No run, no record on the season. No ERA either. 10 appearances. This will be the 11th. 10 innings, 6 hits, no runs. He's walked 5 and struck out 15, a 171 average against. It's the first pitch. Swung on and missed by Quincy Lattimore. An 88-mile-an-hour slider. Sabatka can throw hard, but he's working on the slider as well. Is that ball a lazy fly ball out to center field? Jack Reinheimer drifts back. He'll make the catch, and there's one down. That'll bring up Tyler Ladendorf. Mason Mcallister in the first inning got the first 2 batters out. He walked a batter in Xander Wheel, and then Jerry Downs and Quincy Lattimore got base hits. Lattimore drove in the run, and Mason Mcallister's ball game wasn't looking so hot, but then he locked in. He walked a batter in the second, and Jay Gonzalez gave up a hit to Ben Aklenski in the third. It's the pitch from Sabatka taken for a strike. And after that, forget about it. So Mcallister finished off the final 8 batters that he faced in order. As the pitch from Sabatka misses, even the count at 1 apiece. One down here in the 7th. Delgado, Randall Delgado, much to the delight of Gene Francisco. That ball grounded over to Reinheimer. Reinheimer's throw to Castro in time. There's quickly 2 down. Gene Francisco on the live chat on YouTube this evening talked about how she's very glad to see Delgado back. And, well, Gene, I can tell you, I'm pretty excited about it too. As Randall Delgado is, well, you just don't have enough guys in the Atlantic League pitching that has 30 big league wins under his belt. That's exactly what Delgado brings to this club. He's battle-tested in the major leagues as the pitch to Jay Gonzalez misses. Got a great work ethic, a phenomenal demeanor. And he brings a lot of experience to this club. Here's the pitch. Taken for strike 1. Evens the count at 1 apiece. Sabatka has time with the Atlanta Braves organization. Of course, Chad pitched collegiately at USC Upstate, just down the road in Spartanburg, South Carolina. As that pitch just misses outside, the count should be 2-1. As the pitch cut on and missed, count evens at 2-2. Sabatka, also one of his best attributes is the fact that he married well. Kayla McAvoy was one of the best volleyball players to play at USC Upstate in the Division I era. As that pitch misses down. Chad and Kayla met in college. They got married, and it was quite a romance. And, of course, now Kayla has gone beyond college and now is doing quite nicely in the real world. Thank you. It's the pitch from Sabatka, driven out to left field. Zach Jarrett will make the catch on the line drive, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Chad Sabatka as we go to the 8th. Gastonia leads 2-1. We'll be back on the Honey Hunters Radio Network. Top of the 8th inning. Kyle Mott comes on to pitch for High Point here in this 2-1 ball game. It's Gastonia with runs in the 4th and the 6th inning. Kyle Mott, a 2-1 record on the year, 4.97 ERA, making his 18th appearance. So face off against Reese Hampton for the first time as the pitch misses away. Hampton with a single and a double. He's 2 for 3 in the ball game. He's got a stolen base, and he scored twice. For Mott, 25 and a third innings pitched, 10 hits, 15 runs, 14 earned, 23 walks, 28 strikeouts. This Hampton committed to the swing. Count evens at 1-1. 119 average against for Kyle Mott. As Mott out of the set position. Misses up and away. The count goes to 2-1 here in this 2-1 ball game. The lights are actually starting to take full effect here at the ballpark this evening. As the pitch misses again, the count now 3-1 to Reese Hampton. Gastonia at this moment doesn't have anything going in the bullpen, but I see Quentin Torres Costa standing up on a mound, so if he hasn't been throwing, he's probably about to. As Reese Hampton swings and misses, count works its way full. So Hampton back in the box. We'll wait on the payoff pitch from the right-hander, Kyle Mott. Here's the offering. Misses up, and Reese Hampton reaches for the third time in the ball game with a free pass. And with Kyle Mott, as we just talked about his numbers, he's averaging about a walk an inning. And with a 119 average against, it's not like you're having a whole lot of success putting the bat on the ball. As Jack Reinheimer will step to the plate. And this is an interesting dynamic here because Mott, that pitch almost got Reinheimer. Now, I would imagine this is a reality. It's Reinheimer. So we're going to have a mound visit, and Frank Viola, I believe, is going to be the one to come out and have the conversation with Kyle Mott. And that's exactly what's going to happen. And this is a tough spot, as it's a 2-1 ball game. And Mott, who's given up the leadoff walk, is trying to work out of this inning. But his mind is sort of divided between what he knows is over at first base, and that's the Atlantic League's best base stealer in Reese Hampton, and Jack Reinheimer, who can handle the bat extraordinarily well. And with Mott, a tall, lanky right-hander, brings it to the plate quickly. Reinheimer has an exposed hole over on the right side that he could push a ball through. It's that pitch, a breaking ball, misses in, and the count 2-0. A legitimate situation here for Gastonia to perhaps put this one out of reach with a crooked number here in the 8th inning. Reinheimer's going to wrap it into left center field. Hampton's rolling around, and he's probably going to take a shot at scoring. They're going to send him all the way around. The throw from Alfonso is not in time, and Gastonia has a 3-1 advantage. When you're as ultra fast as Reese Hampton, that ball getting into the left center gap was all the space that he needed, and Gastonia has a 3-1 advantage. So the throw never got the tag down for Hampton as he slid not only around the tag, but he slid over the bat. And that brings up Joseph Rosa. And that's what speed will do for you. So the double for Reinheimer is his first hit of the ball game. It's RBI number 44 on the season. And now the bullpen is going to get up and get going for the Rockers. That's going to be Jonathan Crawford, who's throwing for the Rockers. And now with Rosa and Jarrett behind Reinheimer and nobody out, this is a very good opportunity for Gastonia to put a 3 or 4 run lead on the board. Rosa batting from the left side against the right-hander. It's going to lift that one. That's going to head toward us. As Kyle Mott has already given up a walk and a double and a run scored, most importantly. Reinheimer, the runner, down at second. Rosa at the plate. Rosa has a sacrifice fly as he swings and misses there. The count 1-2. Rosa 0 for 2 in the game officially. A strikeout and a pop out. The pitch from Mott misses down. Count evens at 2-2. It's Gastonia now with runs in the 4th, 6th, and 8th inning. A 3-1 advantage. Trying to snap a 2-game losing skid. Mott looks in. Here's the pitch. Down. The count now runs full. And Crawford is throwing with intent. It's possible that if Mott can't get Rosa here in this situation, that could be the end of the night for him, as he will have faced 3 batters without retiring anybody. We'll see what happens here. Here's the pitch. Rosa drives the ball to right field, and it's a fair ball, and it's a goner. Welcome to Gastonia, Joseph Rosa, as Gastonia is now up 5-1. He got a pitch he liked, and he launches it over the wrought iron out into the street, and Gastonia has a 5-1 advantage. My sweet mother. As Rosa cranked the pitch out of the yard, and Gastonia has a 5-1 advantage with 4 here in the 8th. And that'll bring up Zach Jarrett. Rosa's 15th on the season, 3 RBI in the ball game, and Gastonia's up 4. That's what I'm talking about. As Jarrett watches a pitch miss. Jarrett has a single and a double in the ball game, an RBI and a stolen base. And now Gastonia starting to flex their muscle at the plate. And that is exactly why it was voted as the Atlantic League's mid-season second baseman. He has been hitting the baseball something fierce this season. 98 hits on the year, second in the league. It's the pitch to Jarrett, taken for a strike. The count goes to 1-2. You see in the background, if you're watching on YouTube, Mason Mcallister and John Anderson, a couple of guys that you would imagine one firmly in the rotation. Mason Mcallister could become a new member of that rotation, especially if tonight was an audition, because he was really good tonight. As Jarrett fouls the pitch off. As Jarrett waits on the delivery from Mott. It's going to foul that one up and out of play. As the race is on for the baseball. And a little girl made it up to the top of the steps wearing some Crocs. And she comes away with the baseball. Good for her. Mott delivers. It's the pitch taken for strike 3. As Carlos Echeverria rings up Zach Jarrett. It's 1 down here in the 8th. That'll bring up Luis Roman. As Gastonia started the inning with a walk to Reese Hampton. Jack Reinheimer hit a double into the left center field gap. It didn't even get to the warning track, but it was far enough away from Mcallister to get Reese Hampton a chance to see everything in front of him. Where that ball was hit, Reese Hampton knew exactly what he had the capability of doing. He was able to take full advantage as he scored on the slide at home as the pitch misses down. And now Gastonia with a 5-1 advantage. Jonathan Crawford is ready for the Rockers. Roman waits on the pitch from Mott. Misses outside. It's the count now 2-1. Roman was intentionally walked his last time up. The pitch, Roman bounces it over to Downs. Downs will take it himself. And there's 2 down in the inning. That'll bring up Luis Castro. So Gastonia with a 3 spot here in the top of the 8th has a 4-run advantage. As Joseph Rosa does as you've come to expect Joseph Rosa to do. And with that, let's take a station ID here on the Honey Hunters Radio Network.
Your home for Honey Hunters baseball, AM 1450 and 101.1 FM, WGNC, Gastonia, Charlotte.
It's Kyle Mott, breaking ball, taken for a strike. Luis Castro in this ball game. He's popped to first, struck out, bounced into a fielder's choice. Castro's going to roll that one over to the Gastonia dugout. It's Gastonia trying to level this series at a game apiece. Mott looks in for the sign. Here's the pitch. And that one looks like it got a piece of Luis Castro. So he'll shed his gear and get over to first base. And that'll bring up Jake Skull. And Kyle Mott likes to throw fastballs. Jake Skull likes to hit fastballs. This could be an intriguing matchup here. And we're not going to see it. Jamie Keefe's going to come get the ball away from Kyle Mott. Jonathan Crawford will come on. We'll tell you more about it when we come back. Gastonia leads 5-1 on the Honey Hunters Radio Network.
Go Honey Hunters! HighPointNorthCarolina.com.
Jonathan Crawford comes on to pitch for the High Point Rockers. Crawford, no record on the year, a 3.42 ERA, making his 27th appearance. 26 and a third innings pitched, 13 hits, 12 runs, 10 earned. It's Crawford. Has no saves in the ball game, or in the season, I should say. And it looks like it's a stolen base for Luis Castro. It's 12 walks, 31 strikeouts for Crawford, a .236 average against. As Jake Skoll takes a ball. And now Castro, who's stolen 3 bases this weekend, is Crawford and Mulcahy going to have a conversation on the mound about signals. Tyler Ladendorf going to get a look-see also. Carlos Echeverria is going to go back to his spot at home plate and will carry on. It's Gastonia with a 3 spot here in the 8th inning. Have a 5-1 lead. The pitch from Crawford. Skoll takes for a strike. Count evens at 1-1. Of course, as soon as we're done with this game tonight, we'll have the post-game show. We'll tell you what went down, how it went down, and we'll get you ready for tomorrow, which will hopefully be a rubber game. As the pitch misses up, 2-1 the count. Skoll at the plate. Crawford looks in for the sign, has it. Here's the delivery. As that pitch misses down. And now the count is 3-1. With first base open, if you're Jonathan Crawford, do you challenge Skoll here? Here's the pitch. Skoll took a big hack but fouled it away. The count runs full. Luis Castro, who was hit by a pitch, stole a base. He's down at second. Gastonia with 3 in the 8th. They have the 5-1 advantage. It's Crawford. Looks in, has the sign. Here's the pitch from Mulcahy. Skoll swings and misses. That is strike 3. The inning comes to a close, but not before Joseph Rosa and Jack Reinheimer come through with RBIs. A 2-run shot from Rosa, an RBI double from Reinheimer, and it's a 5-1 Gastonia lead as we go to the bottom of the 8th on the Honey Hunters Radio Network. Bottom of the 8th inning, Gastonia with a 5-1 advantage. Quentin Torres Costa here in the 8th inning to take on Dakota Mulcahy, Giovanni Alfonso, and Michael Russell. 8-9-1 for Quentin Torres Costa. 4-2 record on the year, a 2.48 ERA, making his 36th appearance. It's the pitch taken for a strike to Mulcahy. Evens the count at 1-1. Torres Costa on the season, not only does he have the 4-2 record, he's also got 3 saves on the year, 36 and a third innings, 33 hits allowed, 12 runs, 10 earned. It's Dakota Mulcahy. Swings and misses. The count goes to 1-2. 12 walks, 55 strikeouts. 231 average. The 55 strikeouts is the top number of anybody in the bullpen. In fact, as the pitch misses, count evens at 2-2. 52 strikeouts, the third highest total on the team, only behind Riley Hovis and Johnny Anderson. Q's pitch just misses. Now the count works full. Gastonia with the 5-1 advantage. So glad you could join us here on this Saturday night. So we've got some movement in the scores from around the league. Q's pitch. As that works inside, and Dakota Mulcahy draws a walk. That'll bring up Giovanni Alfonso. Around the league, top of the 8th, Lancaster and York tied at 1 apiece. Top of the 8th inning, Lexington has jumped out in front of Staten Island 5-2. Long Island has a 3-2 lead. Top of the 8th on Southern Maryland, and Charleston a 5-2 lead on Wild Health in the top of the 7th inning. Torres Costa, first pitch strike. High Point has a pitcher throwing in the bullpen. That's Cam Cotter out of Summerfield, North Carolina. Recently just wrapped up his time with North Carolina State. Torres Costa. Pitch misses. Evens the count at 1-1. High Point has 3 hits in the ball game. That hit was a leadoff single in the 3rd from Beneklinski. Gastonia, from that point, I want to make sure I've got this right, prior to the walk of Mulcahy. Its time is called before Torres Costa goes plateward. Mason Mcallister retired the final 8 batters that he faced in order. Randall Delgado, 3 in a row. Chad Sabatka, 3 in a row. That was 14 straight before the walk from Torres Costa. And that pitch is going to get a piece of Giovanni Alfonso. And now with runners at first and second, that brings up Michael Russell. So that brings up Michael Russell with 2 on and nobody out. Here in the bottom of the 8th inning, Gastonia with the 5-1 advantage. Russell fouls the pitch back. Gastonia trying to get back to their winning ways. Came into this contest 57-23. Still 34 games over 500, but you definitely want to cut off any potential slippage. As Torres Costa misses there, the count evens at 1-1. Mulcahy walked. Alfonso was hit by a pitch. It's Torres Costa. The 1-1. He sets. Here's the offering. Here it comes. Russell fouls the pitch back. Works the count to 1-2. The lone run for High Point scored in the first inning on a walk and a pair of hits. Gastonia, a single run in the fourth, one in the sixth, three in the eighth. Here's the pitch. Torres Costa misses outside. The count evens at 2-2. Cam Cotter's ready to go for High Point. So he's basically just doing a little bit of stretching and intermittent throwing. So he'll likely come on in the ninth. As Russell's ball driven out to medium depth center field. Skull will quickly get it to Reinheimer. There's one down here in the bottom of the eighth inning. That'll bring up Mcallister, who's 1 for 3 in the ball game. Mcallister had that single in the third to lead off the frame. And that was the last time that High Point got a hit. As High Point, at this point in the game last night, was moments away from Quincy Lattimore hitting a home run to win it. It's the pitch to Mcallister taken for a strike, and he didn't like it. Mulcahy down at second, Alfonso at first. The pitch from Q. Here it comes. Cut on and missed. 90-mile-an-hour fastball elevated from Torres Costa. And Torres Costa, in that situation prior to throwing the pitch, held the ball a lengthy period of time to the point where Alfonso shifted towards second to see if he could get any advantage possible. And now he's just having a conversation with Castro. Here's the pitch. Fastball elevated. Evens the count at 2-2. That fastball, 95. Make no mistake about it, there are some power arms in this Gastonia bullpen. Here's the pitch, misses. So the count now evens to 2-2. Torres Costa gets the sequence of signs from Stuart Levy, has what he wants. Here's the pitch. Just misses, and now the count runs full. And this is becoming An uncomfortable situation if Aklinski reaches here. It's Torres Costa. Is one pitch away from walking two batters in an inning as that ball's going to be popped up into foul ground. Castro will make the catch in the first base coach's box. And there's two down in the inning. That'll bring up Xander Wheel. That's an important out. As you've got Xander Wheel, perhaps the most consistent RBI threat for this Rockers club. And even if he were to get a base hit here, even if he were to get a 3-run homer, there's nothing that he can do to overtake the lead or tie the game. The pitch from Torres Costa. Misses down as he tried to go with the slider in that scenario. Last night's game went 2 hours and 48 minutes. We would be past that point right now. Xander Wheel will take time, step out, and we'll reset everything. 5-1 Gastonia lead here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Runners at first and second with 2 outs. Here's the pitch. Misses in tight. Now the count goes to 2-0. Alfonso at first. Dakota Mulcahy at second. 2 down here in the bottom of the 8th. Q looks in for the sign, has the sign that he wants. Here's the pitch to Wheel. He misses outside. Now the count works to 3-0. And again, this is flirting in a way that you really don't want to deal with, especially with Jerry Downs on deck. You do not want Downs to come up in a situation where one swing of the bat could tie the game. The pitch from Q. Fastball, outer half for a strike. Gastonia has nobody throwing down in their bullpen. Cam Cotter will be coming in for the Rockers. The 3-1 from Torres Costa. Wheel pops it straight up in the air. Ascanio has it measured. He'll make the catch a step shy of the bag, and that'll retire the side. Quentin Torres Costa bends, but he doesn't break. We go to the 9th. Gastonia leads 5-1 on the Honey Hunters Radio Network. Top of the ninth here in High Point. It's Cam Cotter will be on for the Rockers. It's Cam Cotter. Went 5-3 with a 3.00 ERA for North Carolina State over 22 appearances back in 2019. In 2020 or 2022, he did not pitch. In 21, he just made a single appearance. It's Cam Cotter, a right-hander. Will make, as best I can tell, his first appearance for the High Point Rockers in a 5-1 game against Raider Ascanio, Stuart Levy, and Reese Hampton. Ascanio fouls the pitch back to the screen. Ascanio this evening's grounded out to second, flown out to left, and he struck out 0 for 3 in the ballgame. As Ascanio's going to lift that one up and out of play. A 5-1 Gastonia lead. Gastonia with a 3-run eighth to sort of break it open. Give them a little bit of breathing room against the Rockers. So they went ahead in the 6th inning. So Mason Mcallister is poised 3 outs away from his first Gastonia Honey Hunters win. And amazingly enough, going 2-0 in the Atlantic League in his first 2 starts. He's virtually unheard of. So the count is 1-2 here in the top of the 9th inning. We'll have the post-game show once we're done here. Ascanio's going to loop one over the head of Russell into left field for a base hit. That'll be the 8th hit for the Honey Hunters. That'll bring up Stuart Levy. Levy 0 for 3 in the ball game. It's Cam Cotter pitching his first inning in the Atlantic League. As the fastball misses up. Ascanio takes the lead over at first. Levy is going to lift a foul ball toward Jerry Downs in foul ground. He'll make the catch. And there's one down here in the 9th. That'll bring up Reese Hampton. Reese Hampton isn't going to be necessarily the big shot or the star of the game per se. It's Jack Reinheimer. Had an RBI double, and of course Joseph Rosa has driven in 3 runs in the ball game. But without a Reese Hampton, there probably isn't a Joseph Rosa to have those opportunities. So Reese Hampton has been the fire starter in this one tonight as he scored 3 times. It's the pitch taken for a strike. Hampton popped foul to third his first time up. Then he singled, stole a base, and scored on an RBI double from Zach Jarrett in the 4th inning. As the pitch swung on and missed, he falls behind 0-2. In the 6th inning, he doubled, and he scored on a sacrifice fly from Joseph Rosa. Then he walked in the 8th and scored on an RBI double from Jack Reinheimer, who subsequently scored on a home run from Joseph Rosa. As the pitch is taken for strike 3. Reese Hampton a little flustered by that circumstance. There's 2 outs in the inning. That'll bring up Jack Reinheimer. Does look like Jesus Balaguer is down in the bullpen for the Honey Hunters. It looks like he'll come on to pitch the ninth. As it turns out, Balaguer could pitch the ninth tonight and tomorrow, with the club getting a day off on Monday. And really, the way the bullpen sets up, this club could throw anybody tomorrow. As Reinheimer's going to shoot that one out into right center field. It's going to get down for a knock. Ascanio is going to cruise into third, and now Jack Reinheimer has a multi-hit ball game. Reinheimer last night went 2 for 5. He took Thursday off. He went 2 for 4 on Wednesday and went 4 for 5 on Tuesday. It's a guy with 10 hits this week. His numbers are starting to reflect that a little bit. He's 2 for 5 in this ball game. And maybe all it took was a trip to York, Pennsylvania to really get his motor going again. As Joseph Rosa will now step to the plate, batting left-handed against Cam Cotter. It's Joseph Rosa. Reinheimer will go. The pitch is taken high, and Reinheimer's going to get himself a stolen base. And for Reinheimer, that's going to be a stolen base that gets him to 32 on the season, and we're waiting for word from the Atlantic League about a steal that has been credited to him from back on July 6th, as there was a change in scoring. But after review, Reinheimer's going to be having a stolen base added to his numbers. As Rosa's going to lift that pitch foul. It's Reinheimer. They've already added the stolen base. He came into the game, according to my numbers, with 31. He's got 32 coming into the game now once it's been added, and this one should be 33. And Hampton now with 40 on the season. Now Cam Cotter and Dakota Mulcahy going to have a quick conversation about pitch sequences. So Cotter now will try to see if he can get through this ninth inning without any harm being done. 5-1 Gastonia lead as Rosa's going to roll that one on top of the bag. Jerry Downs will field it, touch the bag, and that'll take us to the bottom of the ninth. Gastonia with a 5-1 advantage, 3 outs away from the first win for Mason Mcallister. We'll be back on the Honey Hunters Radio Network. Bottom of the ninth inning. Jerry Downs will lead things off here in the bottom of the ninth against Jesus Balaguer. As the pitch to Downs misses. 5-1 lead for Gastonia. As Balaguer comes into the game, this is not a save situation, but in Goose Gazzo's mind, it hardly matters. He wants to end the very brief two-game losing skid. As Downs is going to foul the pitch back to even the count at 1-1. Balaguer, a 0-2 record on the year, a 2.36 ERA, making his 36th appearance, 17 saves and 19 save opportunities. The pitch to Downs. Fastball misses at 34 1/3 innings pitched for Balaguer. 26 hits, 13 runs, 9 earned. 16 walks, 45 strikeouts, a 205 average against. As Downs swings and misses. As the count works full, or I should say works even to 2-2. Or correction, it's 1-2. That pitch. Did it get a piece of Jerry Downs or no? Apparently it did not. Gastonia with the 4-run advantage. As Balaguer looks in for the sign. Downs goes up the middle and gets a base hit. And the base hit for Downs is his second of the ball game, just the fourth for the team, and it's the first base hit that they've gotten since the third inning. That'll bring up Quincy Lattimore. High Point, 4 runs back as Quincy Lattimore steps to the plate. Doesn't have a chance to be the hero like he was last night. But he sure wants to do something productive here. It's the pitch from Balaguer taken for a strike. And Balaguer has had a stretch of games to where he's been in, to where he's given up a base hit. As he had a batting average against in the low 190s a couple weeks ago. But every time he comes to the pitch now in recent outings, he's given up a base knock. And that's gotten that average against to now 205 on the year. And it's going to go up in this situation even if he were to retire the very next 3 batters. As the pitch fouled back to the screen. Count stays at 0-2. Balaguer, of course, I mentioned it in York, Pennsylvania, where he pitched in that 10-0 win. On Saturday, he was down in Florida getting his U.S. citizenship. As Lattimore will foul that pitch back. And the response from the friends on the team, from folks in the office, was pretty good. As Balaguer came to the ballpark on Friday, after the road trip from York. That ball rolled down the third base line. Lattimore's going to have himself a hit. That's going to rattle around in the bullpen. Downs is going to cruise into third. And now there's runners at second and third with nobody out. That'll bring up Tyler Ladendorf. But Jesus Balaguer had red, white, and blue cupcakes waiting on him Friday before we made the trip to High Point. He shared them with everybody. And obviously the guys took him up on the offer. As Tyler Ladendorf will step to the plate with runners at second and third and nobody out. Balaguer needing to get a batter out here. As the pitch misses down. As Ladendorf in the ball game is 0 for 3. Gastonia's out hit High Point. 9-5 in the ball game. Everybody back defensively for Gastonia. As the slider cut on and missed, even the count at 1-1. Gastonia will give up the run for the out. And even if they've got to do it twice, that'll be okay. Because those runners on base at the moment are of no consequence. It's the pitch buried, and a run's going to score as Jerry Downs scores on the wild pitch. And Quincy Lattimore moves to third. It's a 5-2 ball game. So now a 3-run differential between the two clubs. As High Point now scored a run in the first and now have scored a run in the ninth. Again, the defense will give up the run for the out. That ball's going to be lifted out into soft left center field. And it's going to be a base knock for Tyler Ladendorf. And just like that, it's a 5-3 ball game. And that'll bring up Jay Gonzalez with the potential tying run at the plate. And now that's going to force Goose Gazzo to get some stirring up in the bullpen as Reggie Harris is going to go out and have a conversation with Jesus Balaguer. As he's gone single, double, single with 2 runs scoring in the frame. And Jay Gonzalez will step to the plate, who's 0 for 2 in the ball game. And now the High Point faithful that have stuck around in this one have a little something to be excited about. And Reggie Harris took a long stroll out to the mound, and he's going to take a long stroll back to the dugout as Sam Bordner is going to start getting loose. As Jay Gonzalez will step to the plate, the left-hander, and Gonzalez versus the right-hander in Balaguer. Ladendorf takes the lead at first. Fastball cut on and missed. So Bordner will start throwing. The High Point bullpen is quiet. The pitch, Balaguer catches the outside edge. Gonzalez does not agree. So the Rockers came into this frame down by 4. They've cut that lead in half, and now they're a bloop and a blast away from tying it, and the bloop's already on base. Here's the pitch. Gonzalez fouls that one back over the rooftop. Gastonia hanging on to the 5-3 advantage here in the bottom of the 9th inning. It looks like one game in the league has gone final. As a matter of fact, we've got 2 that have gone final. As the pitch misses up and in to Gonzalez. Lexington defeated Staten Island 5-3. Long Island defeated Southern Maryland 3-2. And we've got 2 games in the league in the bottom of the 9th and 1 in the top of the 9th, as that pitch is going to be shot over to the third base side foul. Tyler Ladendorf with the RBI single. He's over at first, held on by Luis Castro. Sam Bordner is getting loose for the Honey Hunters, just in case. Balaguer will step off. Gonzalez back in the box. Balaguer looking for a new set of signs. Has what he likes. Here's the pitch. Is that pitch cut on and missed? Gonzalez first out here in the 9th. And now Dakota Mulcahy, though I cannot see it, will most likely be lifted for a pinch hitter. As we will see a pinch hitter come on here in the 9th inning. Cesar Trejo, who recently signed with the Rockers, is going to get a pinch hit opportunity against his former club. Earlier this year, Trejo, who played collegiately at UNC Greensboro, was traded to the Cleburne Railroaders of the American Association. As Balaguer, breaking ball, starts him out with a strike. As Trejo, playing for his 3rd team this season for Gastonia, batted .353 with just 17 at-bats, 6 hits, 2 home runs, 5 RBI. Before he was dealt to the American Association Railroaders. And High Point, he's 1 for 4. He's played in 3 games prior to this one. Trejo behind 2 strikes. 1 down here in the bottom of the 9th. Here's the pitch from Balaguer. Trejo swings and misses, and there's 2 down. That'll bring up Giovanni Alfonso. So Alfonso, the final hope for the Rockers, is Balaguer, after giving up 3 consecutive hits, is now 1 out away from finishing this game off. Again, regardless of what happened in this inning to Balaguer, this was never a save opportunity. Now, if Bordner had entered at this point, it would be. That ball lifted out into center field. Jake Skoll coming on. He makes the sliding catch, and it's hugs, handshakes, and high fives for the Honey Hunters. As they pick up win number 58 on the season, they snap the 2-game losing skid, and they're back to their winning ways. When we come back on the other side of the timeout, we'll have the post-game show as Gastonia wins 5-3 on the Honey Hunters Radio Network.